Remember to smile when you go for your interview, because the energy you give is the energy that you receive from the USCIS officer. The first thing that they will ask for your passports and IDs. I'll be sharing with you all the questions that you were asked and some of the documents that I think that you should not leave behind when you're going to your immigration interview, and specifically the family-based I-130 and I-485 interview. First of all, how to prepare. The first thing is preparation, and remember that presentation is key. The way you present yourself when you're going for the interview matters a lot. So make sure that you're smart when you're going for your interview. And secondly, you must bring all the necessary documentations that are needed when you're going for your interview. And these are some of the documents that you should not leave behind when you're going for your family-based green card interview. Make sure that you bring your interview notice. That notice that they sent to you inviting you for the interview, that is the first document that they will ask for when you get to the USCIS offices. So let that be the first document that you have on your list. And secondly, bring your passports. Both the petitioner and the beneficiary must bring their passports. And thirdly, birth certificates. In this case, the beneficiary's birth certificate is the most important part during this interview. Even if the sponsor or the petitioner doesn't have a birth certificate, the beneficiary must have a birth certificate. If you've been working on a work permit, bring your work permits, your identification forms, and also, since you're married, bring your marriage license. And if the sponsor or the petitioner was naturalized, make sure that you bring your certificate of naturalization. So it's either your certificate of naturalization or your birth certificate or a passport, a US passport. If you don't have your birth certificate that shows that you were born in the US, at least bring your US passport. So it's either of the two. Another document that you need to bring is your lease, a lease that shows that both of you live in the same apartment, either a mortgage document or a lease document, and both of you should be on the lease. So here you have your lease and you have your bills, and make sure that both of you are on the bill. Like for instance, if you're paying the renter's insurance, make sure that both the petitioner and the beneficiary are on the renter's insurance. Both of you are on the BGE or PEPCO or whatever electric provider that you use. Make sure that both of you are on the bill. For instance, if you're on the same phone service with your spouse, then make sure that you print out a statement that shows that both of you are on the same line. These bills will be so essential once the interview starts, because they'll ask you guys if you have any more evidence that they can use to prove that your marriage is bona fide. And this is something that you need to take seriously. That print out photos that you've taken during the course of living together with this spouse of yours. If you've been out on dates, you've been out with friends, make sure that you take pictures and then print out those pictures, put them in a nice album, and then bring the album to the interview, because they'll ask for all of those. And now we've covered the dress code, and we've also covered all the documents that you should bring to the interview. If you've ever appeared before the judge, even if it's a traffic violation, make sure that you go to the court where you appeared and tell them to print your court records and bring them during the interview, because I promise you they will ask for these documents. For instance, if you appeared before the judge for a traffic violation and you had to pay a fine, go to that court and then talk to the clerk, and they will print for you a disposition document that shows that you appeared before the judge, and then the document that will show that that case was closed and you were able to pay the fine that was given to you by the judge. And even if they don't ask for it, let the officer know that you appeared before the judge and you had to pay a fine. Then give the officer that document and they will scan it and add it on your case. The next thing will be the interview. This is the part that you don't have to miss. I'm about to share with you all the questions that were asked during our interview that we just concluded September 30th, 2025. So once you get to the USCIS offices, at the entrance, you go through the checkpoint, and then they'll send you to the waiting area. Once you get to the waiting room, the beneficiary will have to go to the teller point. So you go to the counter and then give them your interview notice. And once you give them your interview notice, you'll be asked to sit down, take your photo and collect your fingerprints. And once that is done, they'll tell you to go back and take a seat. You take a seat and wait for your name to be called. And once your name is called, that's when you'll be taken to this specific room by the immigration officer who will be there to conduct the interview. Now you've gotten to the interview room. What's next? The USCIS officer will tell you to stand up, take oath, and swear that whatever you're about to say is the truth and you're not about to tell lies. And guys, remember not to lie. Remember not to tell lies, because if you ever submitted things that are different and now you're about to say things that are contradicting, you'll be caught. So remember to tell the truth that you had submitted before. So once you get in there, you've already sweared, and now it's time to conduct your interview. The first thing that they'll ask for your passports and IDs and social security cards. And once that's done, they'll start asking questions. In our case, they started with the beneficiary. And the USCIS officer started with a question. She was like, so tell me how you guys met. And then we told her how we met, and tell me how you guys fell in love, how you guys were going on dates, and tell me what made you want to get married, and tell me how you proposed, and tell me how, So that was the main question. And that question went to the beneficiary. And the next question was, who pays the bills, what job that we do, and who cleans at home, who cooks. Another question was, have you ever met each other's parents? And she was like, can you name your spouse's parents' names? So make sure that when you're going for the interview, you know your spouse's parents' names, you know your spouse's siblings' names, because during our interview, those questions were asked. She asked for the spouse's parents' names. She asked for the spouse's siblings' names. So you should be able to answer such simple questions, since you are sure that your marriage is real. And then after that, she asked, when did you guys start talking? And the next question was, when did you guys go on the first date? Who was around when you got engaged? And then she asked, who was around during the wedding? And if the wedding didn't have a lot of people, just like, if you get a court marriage, of course, court marriages always have like a maximum of 7 people. So if you don't have a lot of people during your wedding, make sure that you get ready to answer why you didn't have friends and family around during the wedding. Also, she asked, did we go for a honeymoon? And also she asked, where did you go for your honeymoon? And she also asked, what did you guys do after your wedding? Did you guys go out and eat? Did you guys cook at home? And she was like, what kind of food did you guys eat? And she asked how much our electric bill was and how much our rent was. Whenever she was asking questions, she would look at these forms just to confirm that we had the right answers. And she also asked the birthdays of our parents. So make sure that you know your parents' birthdays, you know your father's and mother's birthday, because you'll be asked and then you'll be embarrassed if you don't know your parents' birthday. And another question was, are you guys planning on any vacations? If yes, where are you guys planning to go? Another question was, do you guys have any future plans? So if you're planning to buy a house in the near future, you can say yes. So she asked if we had any future plans, and we answered that. A reminder is that don't interfere with your spouse's answer. So in this case, if the question is directed towards the petitioner and you're the beneficiary, keep quiet until your question comes. And if you insist on interfering with the other person's questions, you will be separated and interviewed separately. So make sure that you don't interfere with another person's question. And also, if you don't understand the question, please ask. Don't just answer for the sake of answering a question. You'll also be asked about your immigration status, and you'll be asked about how you came to the USA, and when was the last time you left the country and came back, or when was the last time that you came to the US. And also remember to bring your form I-94, because your I-94 form is the one that they always use to prove that you came here legally and you were admitted by the customs officer at the airport. So make sure that you bring your I-94 form with you when you're coming for the interview. You'll be asked if you've ever violated any immigration laws or terms, and if you've ever overstayed your visa. Please remember to tell them that you overstayed your visa, because if not, they know the truth and that might prolong your green card process. So make sure that you let them know that you overstayed your visa, and they will also ask you if you've ever worked in the US without documentation. Remember to tell the truth. And guys, just a disclaimer, this video is for entertainment purposes only. I'm only sharing my experience, and this is not immigration advice. And if you need any immigration advice, make sure that you talk to an immigration attorney. And this video is not intended to give immigration advice. I'm just sharing my experience in my previously concluded I-485 and I-130 interview. So once your interview is wrapped up, you'll be given a notice that will tell you that the decision is not made up at the moment. So they will tell you to go back home and wait for feedback from USCIS. If you have an online account, you'll receive an email and a notification that says that we've taken action on your case. So for our case, once we left the Baltimore USCIS field office and we got back home, so I-130 was approved only 2 hours after the interview. And then the following day at around noon, form I-485 was also approved, and we also received an email saying that USCIS had taken action. So guys, that was our experience for our I-130 and I-485 interview at the Baltimore field office. I think the immigration officer was friendly. She would ask questions, and also if we didn't understand, we asked and she repeated questions, and she was not aggressive or hostile or rebellious. No, she was nice, and she always explained if we needed explanation while she was asking questions. Remember to smile when you go for your interview, because the energy you give is the energy that you receive from the USCIS officer. Remember that they're also humans, and so the energy that you give when you go to their office, that's the same energy that you receive once you sit in that chair and you start your interview. And finally, if I'm to break down for you our journey, how it went, we submitted our I-130 on March 27th, 2025. We submitted I-485 on June 17th, 2025. So that's a gap of 3 months. So that's a gap of 3 months between the I-130 and I-485. And once you go to July, it was showing 9 months. Once you go to August, at the beginning of August, it was showing 8 months, until our processing time was showing 8 months. But then on the 26th of August, that's when we received a notification that they had taken action on our case. And then they scheduled an interview. Remember, it went from 8 months to the schedule of the interview. So even if you have 10 months left, make sure that you collect all the evidence just in case you're called for the interview the following month. And that's what happened to us, because we were expecting to wait for 8 months to go for the interview, but they called us for the interview. The whole process took 7 months. 7 months from submitting the first documents of I-130 to the approval of I-130 and I-485 petition. I mean, everyone has different luck and everyone has different days. But recently I've been seeing people saying that their cases have taken 10 months, others are taking 5 months, others are taking 15 months. So guys, that was our experience at the USCIS offices for our I-130 and I-485 interview. Let me hope that you enjoy the video, and let me hope that you found this video important while you prepare for your upcoming interview. Feel free to hit the subscribe button and also give this video a thumbs up so that you don't miss any other coming videos. And I wish you luck in your coming USIS interview. Thanks for watching.